Okay, so let's get going. What we have is a challenge. For challenges, we need a 1D array called team names and team points being a 2D array. So that's what I'm going to do to start off with. If this was my exam, I'll probably do something like this. Team name equals, meant to be equal sign, square brackets. Great. And I need to spell it the same way they've got it in the exam. So team name, just like this. Team points. I'm going to leave it like that for now. It says team name contains the names of teams. So let's do some names. Let's do Gryffindor, Poseidon, what other team names could we have? Gryffindor, Poseidon, Yellow, and one more team. Let's do Chicken. They're my team names. Team points contains the points awarded for each match. The position of the team's data in the two arrays is the same. For example, index 10 of team name will be the same as that. So let's imagine that we've done 4 matches. So we've got another variable which is league size. So how many teams do we have? So league size equals, and there's 2 different ways I can do this. I can just type in 4. We've got 4 teams in our league, or I can do length of team name. We've also got a variable called match number, which is how many matches the teams have played. So let's say 3 matches. So if that's the case, in bit here, this is going to be Gryffindor's information. This row is going to be for Team Poseidon. This row is going to be for Team Yellow. And this row is for Team Chicken. So every team has played the same. Where did it say that? I know it's it somewhere. All teams have played the same number of matches, which is. So these are the points. If they get 3 points, they've won a game, and they won it away from home, from their home game. So it's like if K-Man wins in America, you get 3 points. If K-Man wins their game at home, they get 2 points. If they tie a match, 1, 0 if they lose. So let's do that for each team. Gryffindor in game 1 got 3 points. In game 2 got 3 points and 1 for their third game. I'm making this up. This is just made up data. I generally don't care. Actually, let's have Team Chicken winning. So Team Chicken's got first match, 3 points, 3 points, 3 points. Team Chicken, you've lost a game. There you go. Let's put commas. Okay, so this is our 2D array. This belongs to Gryffindor. Index position 0, index position 0. This is index position 1, Poseidon. Index position 2, Yellow. Index position 3, Chicken. So we've set this up now. What we want to do is calculate the total points for all matches played for each team. So we want to do that for each row. Simply calculate the points for team 1, team 2, team 3, team 4. Does it ask us to display it? Count. Well, yeah, we need to definitely do some displaying here. Calculate the points for all matches played for each team. Count the total number of ways for each team. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a for loop for I in range. And our range is 4. 4 rows. Row 1, row 2, row 3, row 4. So it's Team Gryffindor that we're starting off with. So we want to output the team name first. So I'm going to do print. But where does the team name live? Does it live in here? No, it doesn't. It lives in the list called team name. So I'm going to do team name, and then I'm going to do position I, which will be 0 to begin with. So it will display Gryffindor. I'm now going to add that. So watch, if I run the code, Gryffindor, Poseidon, we've got like the colon. In fact, we don't need the space. You know what? Let's keep it as it is for now. Okay. The next thing we want to do is calculate the total points. So I made a variable called total points equals 0. I'm actually going to put that inside the loop. I will explain that why in a second. There's two different ways we can work out the total points. I'm going to show you a beginner way and an expert way. Let's do beginner way. We're going to do team points row I 0. Add team points row I 1. So we're adding up that, add team points row I 2. And we will put that into our variable, so assign it the value to total points. So it's going to add up all of these and put it into here. Remember, I starts on 0, so it's going to do that one. So remember coordinates? This is basically saying 0, 0. It's then saying 0, 1, then it's saying 0, 2. So it's 0 for the row, then it's doing 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 2. Once it's done that, it will loop. That's the noob way of doing it. Let's do it a little bit more of an expert way. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do another for loop for x in range. And this time I'm going to do it 3 times. Because we want to loop just these columns. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do total points equals team points I, which is 0, row 0, x, plus total points. So what's happening here is the following. It's going to go to team points. It's going to be I, because our loop is I, so it's going to start on this row. And x in this loop is going to be 0 as well, so we start with 3. We add 3 to total points. It then, this loop goes up by 1. So it then adds 3 to total points, which means we've got 6 now. This loop goes up by 1, so we're now doing it for the 3rd time. It's then going to do that. And when it's finished, it's going to add it to total points, so we've got 7. And then this for loop is finished, and it just carries on with the rest of what we need to do. I'll explain why I've got total points here in a bit. So far, if I run our code, let's do a print of total points. Gryffindor got 7, Poseidon 8, Yellow 3, Chicken 9. Happy days. But we're not done. We now need to work out the total number of away wins, home wins, and draw matches and lost matches. Well, we've got the information here. So, I'm going to make a variable called, what do I need? Away win, home win, drawn, lost. Away, home, drawn, and lost. This is going to keep track of how many games we've won, drawn, lost, home, and away. And what I'm going to do is the following. Inside this inside this loop, this for loop, this is responsible, remember, for going through each column. I'm going to say if team points I x equals 3. So if this equals 3, it is a away win. So I'm going to do away equals away plus 1. So we're going to count 1 to away. Elif, team points, I, x equals 2. 2 would be home win. So counting how many home wins we've got, team points, I, x equals 1. Drawn equals drawn plus 1. And finally, else, lost equals lost plus 1. And what I'm going to do now is display each one of those stats. So print home win, home, print away win, or let's do wins. Away, so that's counting how many away wins we've got. Print drawn, drawn, print lost, lost. And there we go. So we've got Gryffindor's. So Gryffindor has 0 home wins, 2 away wins. Let's double check that. And 1 draw. Away win, draw. That is correct. So again, this loop is responsible for going through that. Once it's done, all of this, and we get to the end of the loop, it then goes back to the top. We then move on to the next row. We reset the total points. Away, home, drawn, lost. We reset this back to 0 again. We then display the next team name, which will be 1, Poseidon. We then go to team point to get the total points, remember. We're going to go to team points I, which is now 1, and X, which is starting on 0. We add 3, then we add 2, then we add 3. That is what this is doing here. We're then checking each one of these one at a time. Is it away, home, drawn, lost? Once it's done that, it goes back to the top here and it moves on to the next number, so which will be this one. It does the adding to total points. We then check to see if it's 1 drawn, home, lost. Once it's done that, we go back to here again. We then go to the final column, which is actually this one. We then add it to our total points. It then does its spiel here. We then print everything here. We're now, if I just zoom out, and again zoom out, we're now outside of this for loop. We're done with this, but we're still inside this for loop here, which is responsible for going through each team. So once we've done our adding up for here, we now display the results. We then loop back again and move on to the next team here. We reset everything. So the final thing we need to do is find an output in the team with the highest total points and the lowest total points. This bit's pretty easy again. So I'm going to do highest points equals 0, lowest points equals 0. And what we're going to do is, in this code here where it calculates the total points, in fact we're going to do it after this bit, my fault. So after we do all of this, we want to check for this team if their total points is greater than highest. Highest is assigned the value of total points. So we're basically saying, and this highest should be capital H. Team 1, which is this team, total points is 7. So it's going to get to here. Is total points greater than highest? Well, highest to begin with is 0, so of course. So team 1 becomes the highest team. So points of 7 in there, and just put here another variable called highest team equals empty, lowest team equals empty, and what I'm going to do here is highest team equals, and then we need to get the team name, which is going to be team name I, because we're still in this outer loop. This outer loop is keeping track of which team we're on. So it'll be Gryffindor. If, actually let's do another if. So if total points is less than lowest. I'm doing a different if because this is completely different to this check. They're two different things. Lowest equals total points, so this is the amount of total points for the lowest team. Did it tell us that we need to actually display the team name? Yeah, the name of the team, it did. And lowest team equals team name I. So, if we were to run this through, first team is Gryffindor, it adds this up, it's 7. It checks. Is 7 more than the highest amount of points? The highest amount of points is 0 to begin with. Yes, it is. So team name I, which is Gryffindor, becomes the highest team. I'm just going to do Griff. It then checks the lowest points. I've got 7. Is it less than 0? In fact, this needs to be like a number which is like 100 to begin with. Otherwise, no team's going to have the lowest amount of points because no team has 0. So, if total points is less than the lowest, so Gryffindor has 7 points. It is smaller than lowest, so Gryffindor also becomes the lowest team with 7 points. That's fine, that's expected. So so far, Gryffindor's got the highest and lowest amount of points. That is expected. We then display everything. It then loops again. We then check this team, 3, 5, 8. So is 8 greater than? So that should be now 7. 7. Yes, it is. So team I, which is now team 2, or Poseidon, becomes the highest team. And then we put their points, which is 8, into highest. So highest becomes 8. And they become Poseidon. It then checks the lowest. If total points is less than lowest, well, we've got 8, lowest is 7, so it's not less than that, so Gryffindor is still the lowest. It then displays all the information, and we move on to the next one. So this team will become the lowest, if you have to roll that. So it does its checks, 3 points will be the lowest, and it's now going to be team 3, which is yellow. There it loops again, it looks at chicken, adds these up, 9. 9 will become the highest. This will be chicken. And there we go, it'll be done. So let me just undo all this stuff. So lowest still should be a high number like 100. At the end of a code, outside every loop, look, I'm outside the loop. Zoop. Outside the loop. And now we display the team with the highest, the team with the lowest. Points. The team with the most points was highest team, and I could make a special with highest points. So it's going to display the team name and the amount of points. The team with the lowest points was lowest team with lowest. So let's run this code. And there we go. Chicken 9, yellow 3. So, again, just for reference, this for loop, the outer one, is responsible for going through every single row. The inner one, which is this one, is responsible for calculating each column in a row, and then it resets once it's done its job. So once this is done, it resets, and then it starts again.